For this skeleton rigging, I decided to use a site called Make Human, which allows you to download a program to customize 3D human figure meshes. And that's what the logo looks like. And then you go into the makehumancommunity.org, and then you see a download button, which is Make Human 111. So when you open up the program, you get a default human figure, which I'm just rotating here. On the side, you can go onto modeling, and then you can change gender, muscle, percentage, weight, height, proportions, all this sort of stuff to make it interesting. Then at the bottom here, you can see the age and the muscle percentage, what the weight is, and then the actual height of the actual model as well, as you toggle between the different things until you get the one that you want in the end. So here I'm just changing, just figuring out all this sort of stuff. You can then change the age, the fatness of the head. When you finish with your mesh, you go on to export at the top left there, and then you choose the film box or FBX file. On your right, you will then go on to scale units and choose centimeters. From there, at the top, you go on to the 3 dots there and choose the location of where you want the actual file to be saved. In Maya, you would then import the mesh into the actual program, which is then shown here. This is the mesh I ended up with. I'm just rotating here to show all the different sides. This is just, again, like a basic mesh that Maya then imports. And then you can see all the different details at the face there. It's pretty detailed in the end, which is very good. So if whether or not you want to animate it into, for example, a video or something like that, you can get a pretty detailed view of what the actual mesh looks like. For this specific human mesh, the easiest option would be to use Quick Rig, which is under rigging, and then this Quick Rig icon right there. So just click on that, and then the dialog box didn't actually show up on the capture card, which was kind of stupid, so that's the reason why this doesn't show up. But all you do is select the mesh, and then there is a button called Quick Rig, essentially, and then after that it just takes a little bit for it to actually form, and in the end you'll end up looking something like this, which is a pretty convincing skeleton for the actual mesh, I think. And all on the right there you can see all the joints that you can then move using the move tool on the left, and then you can move them up or down or to the side or wherever you want it to be, really. And then see, I'm just moving the elbow there and the actual arm up or down, and then I'm moving the other hand just to test out to see what it could actually do. Again, moving the arm up or down, and then testing things out. And then, oh, that was a weird one. And then the head tilted a little bit, and then the foot a little bit in front. I tried to do the actual knee to move it up so it looked like she was running, but for some reason I didn't want to, and I think it was because the feet are planted on the ground, so that might be the reason why. But yeah, I just moved it back to look like she was moving. So with all of these different joints, you could create all very different poses in the end, or doing animations or whatever have you, really. And then I tried to make her lean forward a tiny bit just to see, or backwards and forwards. Again, just to test out what it could actually do. And then it is actually easier just to pick the joints on the right, just because otherwise sometimes it doesn't want to pick it up. It just wants to come in, wants to select the mesh. But yeah, that is pretty much a human skeleton rigging. And then on the side there, you can see the foot. You can move it up or down, depending on whether or not you want it in a specific position, essentially. So that's what it looks like. And then from there, obviously the knee will go, oh, it caught a little bit weird there. And then you would just move it up or down, just depending on what type of pose you wanted it to have. So that is skeleton rigging for a human mesh that you get out of this. It's pretty convincing and it looks really good. For this last part, I wanted to test out how this rigging method could work on a non-human mesh. This is Squirtle from Pokemon that we used to do our tutorials, Maya tutorials. I just wanted to finish this mesh, and again, I just selected it, went on to rigging on the side there, chose the quick rig tool. Again, the dialog box didn't actually show. So you just choose the mesh and then you click the quick rig command on the actual thing. It then took a little bit while until I came up with, let's see if it wants to show. Again, it takes a little bit while. And this is the actual skeleton it generated for some reason. It doesn't coexist with the actual mesh, but overall, because the character doesn't move much, it actually kind of makes sense. If we move like the feet, you can see that it kind of makes sense. Weirdly enough, it doesn't work quite well, but overall for the actual mobility of this character, it kind of works. But as you can see, like the arms aren't connected. But if you wanted to, let's say, move the head up or down, that's what it will look like. But again, the mesh squishes and doesn't look right. And then that's the feet, essentially. So it just looks really, really weird, but that's what the actual quick rig would look like. So if it's a limited mobility character, this could work, but I'm still testing out how to do this properly. But that's what it looks like, really.